Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. As is our custom at this time, I'd like to introduce and ask Mr. Dave Braden to please come forward. And as is our custom, David is going to represent all the employees of Cobb County, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd all please rise, David will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Braden. For those of you that are here for the first time, let me give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting today. The first thing that we will concern ourselves with is the consent agenda. These are applications that not only this board has reviewed, but our professional and our engineering staff has reviewed. To our knowledge, there's no known opposition to any of these particular cases. So as we go forward, Mr. John Peterson, our head zoning administrator, will read these into the record. And as he does, the applicant, he or she, will identify themselves by raising their hand. Likewise, if there's anybody here on any of these particular cases that is here in opposition, if they would identify themselves by raising their hand, and if we have opposition, we will pull that particular case and hear it in its regular numeric order. The next course of business is our regular agenda. These are applications, again, that we know we have some opposition, or we want to discuss these in public. As we do that, Mr. Peterson, again, will read these into the record. The applicant, he or she, will identify themselves. Likewise, if there's anybody here in opposition, they will identify themselves by raising their hand. As our course of business continues in that procedure, Ms. Bates is our officer of the day. She will call those forward. Anybody that's going to give testimony will be called up, be sworn in. All testimony will be given to the podium to my right. At that time, the applicant, he or she, will have a 10-minute period to make their presentation to this board. And likewise, and collectively, those in opposition will also have a 10-minute period to make their opposition known to this board. So be cognizant of the fact if you have more than one speaker, you only have a 10-minute period combined. With that said, I'm going to ask Mr. Peterson if he has any special announcements for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to ask the people in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please turn the volume off on your cell phones. They do ring and they do interfere with broadcast presentations. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to start the consent agenda.
We are ready to go. John, jump right in.
Thank you. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals, variance hearing consent agenda for June 13th, 2018. Variance case V36, Champion Window, request a variance to waive the side setback required 10 feet to 2.5 feet, adjacent to the northern property line in land lots 292 and 293 of the 20th District. The property is located on the northeast corner of Carmen Drive and Carmen Lane. Staff recommends approval, subject to development and inspections, comments, and recommendations. Is the applicant present?
Raise your hand.
And let the record show the applicant is here.
There you go.
Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V36? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V37, Champion Window, request a variance to waive the rear setback from required 40 feet to 37 feet in land lot 1025 of the 16th District. The property is located on the west side of Cedar Bluffs Trail, west of Barnesville Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to development and inspections, comments, and recommendations, and stormwater management comments and recommendations. The applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V37? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V38, Champion Window, request a variance to waive the rear setback required 30 feet to 25 feet in land lot 737 of the 16th District. The property is located on the west side of Eastbrook Trace, south of Eastbrook Way. Staff recommends approval, subject to development inspections, comments, and recommendations. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V38? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V39, Ashley Renee Staples requests a variance to allow parking and/or access to parking areas in a residential district on a non-hardened surface in land lots 11, 12, 105, 106, and 127 of the 18th district. The property is located on the east side of Holloman Road, on the northeast side of Stout Parkway, and on the northwest side of Sullivan Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions: traffic comments and recommendations, site plan review comments and recommendations, and the zoning division manager to approve the final location of the non-hardened surfaced areas. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case of V39? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V40, Joel Aviles requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, an approximately 1,080 square foot existing garage and approximately 1,200 square foot existing canopy to be to the side of the principal structure in the way of the required setbacks for an accessory structure over 1,000 square feet, required 100 feet to 45 feet to the front for the existing garage, and a 65 feet to the front for the existing canopy, and a 45 feet to the side for both structures in land lot 769 of the 19th district. The property is located on the north side of Hurt Road, west of Shady Side Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V40? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V41, Jaweed Ashan requests a variance to waive the rear setback from required 40 feet to 19 feet and to increase the maximum allowable impervious surface coverage from 35% to 40% in land lot 1261 of the 16th district. The property is located on the east side of Atlantic Country Club Drive, north of Rolling Rock Road. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? The director show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V41? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V42, Miguel Gayton and Aaron Gayton request a variance to waive the front setback from required 35 feet to 30 feet in land lot 238 of the 17th district. The property is located on the west side of Marshall Drive, south of Hurt Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to development and inspections, comments, and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V42? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V44, David Lord requests a variance to waive the rear setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for a proposed 468 square foot storage building, required 35 feet to 14 feet in land lots 123 and 144 of the 20th district. The property is located on the west side of Loring Road, north of Memorial Parkway. Staff recommends approval, subject to development and inspections, comments, and recommendations, and stormwater management comments and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case of V44? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V45, Stony Reeves requests a variance to allow accessory structures, which is an existing approximately 360 square foot metal building and approximately 600 square foot framing building under construction number 1 to be to the side of the principal building. We have the side setback for an accessory structure or structures under 650 square feet for the metal building and framing under construction number 1 for required 10 feet to 2 feet adjacent to the western property line. We have the rear setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for the existing approximately 360 square foot metal building for required 35 feet to 28 feet. And we have the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an approximately 720 square foot framing under construction number 2, from required 100 feet to 24 feet from the rear and to 45 feet adjacent to the western property line, in land lot 611 of the 19th district. The property is located on the northwest corner of Luther Hall Road and Hopkins Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to development inspections, comments, and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V45? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V46, Charles R. Baker requests a variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the northern property line in land lot 1039 of the 16th District. The property is located on the eastern side of Clubland Drive, north of Creekstone Way. Staff recommends approval, subject to development inspections, comments, and recommendations, and stormwater management comments and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant here for V46, Charles R. Baker? Is there anyone here opposed to this case? Mr. Chairman, the applicant does not appear to be present.
All right, Madam Secretary, as our custom, let's try to make a call. If they can get here before our close of business today, we'll try to help them out. If they can't, they'll have to wait the next month. We'll call this case again at the very end. So let's try to make that call and see if we get them.
Okay.
All right, John.
Variance case V47, Carriage House Auto Works Incorporated, request a variance to waive the rear setback from required 40 feet to 10 feet in land lot 158 of the 16th District. The property is located on the northeast corner of Shallowford Road and Winford Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to site plan review comments and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V47? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V48, Thomas S. Rogers requests a variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 2 feet adjacent to the north property line in land lot 1185 of the 16th District. The property is located on the west side of Dickerson Road, south of Lower Brownsville Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to development inspections, comments, and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V48? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case at V50, Roy Salsitz requests a variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the east property line in land lot 605 of the 17th District. The property is located on the north side of Gaylor Drive, west of Gaylor Street. Staff recommends approval, subject to development inspections, comments, and recommendations. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V50? Let the record show there's no one opposed, and that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman, Board.
Okay, fellow members, it's back to us for discussion. Do we have any comments, discussions, or anything on any of these cases that are on the consent agenda? Not hearing and seeing any comments, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the exception of V46
46.
as presented.
Okay,
I'll second.
I've got a second. Got a motion, I've got a second. Call for the vote. All in favor signify by voting. Okay, it's a yes, yes, yes. Madam Secretary, we're going to approve the consent agenda with a 5-0 vote with the exception of V46 because they have not appeared, and we will recall that case towards the end of the day. Any update on them? Were you able to get them? You left a message, okay. All right, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were kind enough or lucky enough to be on the consent agenda, your business is complete with us for today. Now, you're welcome to stay or you're welcome to leave. If you leave, I'd ask you to leave quietly. And as you go home, spend some money in Cobb County because we certainly need the tax money, so help us out. Thank you and have a great day and have a nice 4th of July. It's coming up. All right, John, as these kind people are leaving quietly, do you want to?
We're going to go ahead and do it as announced and withdrawn and continued cases right now.
Yes, okay, let's do that.
The following cases have been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. First case is variance case V43, David McLean. That case has been withdrawn without prejudice and will not be heard today. Second case is appeal case A-03-2018, Leslie Ann All. That case was withdrawn without prejudice by the applicant. And lastly, variance case V34, Vinings Jubilee Partners LTD. That case was continued by the staff until the July 11, 2018 hearing. So V34 will not be heard today. And with that, Mr. Chairman, you want to start the next case?
Let's go right to it.
Okay.
43.
49.
49, okay.
Variance case V49, Cecily Ferguson requests a variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 9.7 feet, which is existing, and to waive the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for 801 square foot greenhouse required 100 feet to 36 feet adjacent to the eastern property line and to 24 feet adjacent to the western property line. The property is located in land lot 344 of the 16th District and is located on the south side of Blackwell Road, east of Mountain Ridge Drive. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V49? And let the record show there's no one opposed. Will the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
All right, anybody that's going to give testimony needs to come forward and get sworn in.
You don't need your ego.
Give him a little time to get all set up there. Is Judy taking, you're taking this, Judy? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
All right, young lady, we're going to work with you, so
Oh, thank
we're
you.
prepared. Now, before we,
I didn't practice.
before we get started,
Yeah.
the first thing I need is your name for the record. Tell us who
Sure.
you are.
My name is Cecile Ferguson.
All right, Cecile, tell us now what you want to do.
Okay.
For your variance, all we're interested is what you're doing for the variance.
Okay, and I have it here. For my variance, I am asking the board to approve variance for my permaculture project being established on my property. The variance includes images of what you see here. It's basically an edible landscape.
I tell you what we're going to do. Let me give Cornelius, give her a handheld microphone and give her a pointer, and then you could go to your beautiful picture board and explain to us what we're looking at.
Okay, oops. All right, okay. So, first, let me define permaculture. For those who may not know, Webster Dictionary defines permaculture as an agricultural system or method that seeks to integrate human activity with natural surroundings so as to create highly efficient, self-sustaining ecosystems. So basically, it's an edible landscape. That also includes livestock, like backyard chickens, dairy goats, that sort of thing. So here, this is just to give you an idea. This person has vegetables, anything that you probably can buy in your produce, at your produce store, your grocery store, in the produce section. They have it in both their front as well as their back, from medicinal herbs to various fruits and vegetables as part of their landscape. So I'll get into it a little bit more. Here you go. Well, you can go to PowerPoint if you want.
All right, you got 10 minutes, so just,
Okay, I'm
just
sorry.
talk.
Okay, so my motivating factor is my son, age 10, diagnosed with autism. With the diagnosis of autism came other challenges in common with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. My son with autism, diagnosed with ADHD, combined chronic severe anxiety, OCD, sensory processing disorder. During the past 5 years, my son participated in various therapy sessions from twice a week up to 4 times a week, every week, for speech therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral therapy, social skills therapy. I'm going to get into what that has to do with permaculture, because it has to do with the way that we eat, eating healthy, eating organically, helps me as a single mother of 3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just stick with the issue. The issue is the variance. Tell us about the variance. We don't want to know what the cause and the effect is. I
Right.
just want to stick to the variance.
Well, the variance, like I said, I'm here because it's just a matter of establishing my greenhouse and the necessary space or plotting of my, there we go.
There you go.
Okay, so, okay, so I've got a greenhouse that's there, and I'm expanding the greenhouse. Where you see the sign
Right.
or that V-9,
Yeah.
that is going to be an area also where I would like to establish a fenced-in or an enclosure for backyard chickens.
All right, now I'm going to stop you right there. We are not going to, this board is not going to deal with any animals at all.
Oh,
We're not going to do, that's another board that has
oh,
to
I'm
approve that.
confused. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's why I'm here. We're here to help.
Okay,
We're here to help.
I'm confused.
So we're going to take all the animals out of the
Out? Okay.
equation and just stick with the issue of the
okay.
variance.
It is really just expanding my greenhouse that is there.
Right.
And expanding my landscape in regards to just growing my greens.
Okay,
That's really it.
that's it. Mm-hmm. Why do you need the setbacks? Again, that's,
I understood from when I put in my application for the enclosure, because you said not to discuss animal, but I'm gonna fence in an area. Can we show this? Yes. And I'm guessing when I show this, it'll make sense why I'm before you for variance, because I was instructed this is what I needed to do. And focus in on this. Right. So can I have the pointer?
okay,
Oh, I have it, thank you. Okay. So this area right here is what I understood I needed approval for. It's an enclosed area on my property that will enclose the animals, but that's it.
okay. Is that because you don't have enough property? That's why you need to?
Yes, yes, I am on less than 2 acres. So it's my understanding that to have livestock, backyard chickens, under 2 acres, I would have to apply for variance.
And that's another board.
Right. So I'm sorry, but that was my understanding when I went in to apply for the application.
Anything else you want to tell us, Cecilia?
No, that's it, other than, I guess that's it. I'm sorry, I seem to have been given the wrong information, I guess, for, okay.
All right, anything else you want to tell us?
No, that's it. I showed basically what my property is going to look like, and I didn't realize that I didn't need variance for this.
Well, you need setback variances.
Right.
That's what we're here to decide. That's all we're here to decide.
Right, and I don't know really if I even need for where the where my project exists, I don't know if I even need setback variance because it's in the middle of my property. I don't know.
But it doesn't meet the requirement. So
Oh,
that's
okay,
why
I
you're
got you
here.
in terms of lot size. Gotcha.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
That's it.
All right, for the purpose of the record, is there anybody here in opposition to case V49? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion.
Okay,
Ms. Judy Williams represents District 3, so I'm going to turn it over to Ms.
sure.
Williams.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Just to clear up the record, we're here today just for a variance on
Okay.
the greenhouse and the proposed structure. And those are the only two variances that we're
Okay.
really here for. Where this variance gets approved or not does not mean that your other pending,
Animals.
your other request that's pending with the planning commission.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it'll get approved.
Okay.
This is just for the setback of an existing greenhouse in the
Okay.
proposed building. So
I got
I wanted
you.
to make that clear.
Okay, thank you, because I was totally confused.
Okay, that's all right. So, the greenhouse is already there. The proposed structure you showed us where you're wanting to put your other proposed
Right.
structure. You have a large tract of land. You have a .76, and some of it in the back is in the floodplain.
Right.
And I believe that there was one little issue about the greenhouse, if I'm correct. And
Yes, do I speak?
it's fine, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's fine.
Okay, I was just saying, when the zoning gentleman came out, he saw and he said it was over, a small portion of it was sitting over the storm drain, but it's not a fastened building.
Okay.
So he said that it was just gonna make a note that if they ever needed to replace or remove or anything like that, I would be made aware of it, but it's not a set or fixed or concreted.
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
And Dave, if you just shake your head, do we need a hold harmless agreement on that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna really make this simple because you don't have any opposition to this variance. I'm assuming you've talked to all your neighbors.
Yes,
And nobody has a problem. with
no,
it. The greenhouse is existing. We know about the drainage easement. She can modify it. No, you're not modifying the greenhouse.
no,
right?
I'm not modifying it at all. It's
It's
fine.
the other structure you're gonna add.
Right, it's something else
okay.
that I'm proposing.
Then I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this variance for the existing greenhouse and the proposed structure. The greenhouse would have to have a hold harmless agreement because of the drainage easement.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
The greenhouse would have to have a hold harmless agreement.
Sure,
We
sure.
signed that with the stormwater management, so. So the two variances I would be approving would be for the existing greenhouse and for the proposed structure to the 24-foot
Right.
western property line.
Yes.
So that would be my motion,
Subject to the staff comments.
subject to all staff comments.
Okay,
I'll second that.
All right, I've got a motion, I've got a second for discussion. Now I'll open it up to board members. Is there any comments or questions from anybody? I do have a question, Cecilia. The pictures that you have behind you, is that existing? Is that the way your house, your property looks right now?
no, that's just an example of what a permaculture landscape looks
Okay,
like.
that's an example. I was a little confused.
It's not
on
there
that.
yet.
The other thing, I just want to make sure you understand that if the county has to go on the property
Right.
to do anything with a stormwater, they can remove
Sure.
that greenhouse. They
Sure.
can destroy that greenhouse.
I understand,
You understand all that?
I do.
My other question is, before you go to the Board of Commissioners, let me just, after hearing what you said and all, you're on about 3/4 of an acre piece of property. It looks to me like you might be putting too much work into a 3/4 acre piece of property that may not pay off for you. I think you're probably putting a little too much on that piece of property. And I am a little concerned about that, and I want to raise that issue with you right now. From an outsider, this is the first time I heard it. You might be putting too much on that property as it is.
Well, sir, I was hoping that, I had a video inserted in a PowerPoint that just did not play. There is, he couldn't show it.
Okay.
It just didn't work with the system.
We have a motion and we have a second.
Yeah,
Could
but
we
we're
call-
discussing.
Could we call it, though? I request that we call the question.
I'm still in discussion stage, so
Oh.
just
Well,
let
we
me,
made the
if
motion
you,
in a second.
because we did, the other fellow board members, as our rules indicate, they have to have an opportunity to bring it up. So I'm trying to help the
yeah,
lady
what we
because she's
have-
going to have to go before the planning commission.
Well,
So
what I was going to say is that in this particular video that was like 4 minutes long, what I want to do with the property in its entirety, there's a family in California that's done it on a city block. Well, they're about, my point is, they're on 1/10 of an acre. Their property can probably fit mine like 3 times, and they're able to do everything and more than
Okay.
what I'm asking. So I receive your concern, but this is just a temporary thing. And one of the things I didn't get to share with you because I got confused in my understanding of the variance is that this is also very therapeutic and medicinal for
Excuse
my
me, ma'am.
son.
we don't get into that issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll talk to you after as far as
Okay.
kind of separating these things.
Please.
But there is a motion on the floor,
Okay.
and
All right, to finish up our rules and regulations, is there any fellow board members that has any questions for these ladies? No. Okay, I've got a motion, I've got a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by voting. Okay, we're going to approve that 5-0. I wish you all the luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
There you go.
All right, John, where am I now?
There is the one issue of the consent item, and it was a no-show, Mr. Chairman.
Was that 39, John?
46.
46. Okay.
For this particular case, the neighbors did sign off on it, there was no opposition. Would it be the board's wish just to put this back on consent?
And John, you would be the acceptee on this?
Yeah, I'll go ahead,
Raise your hand.
raise my hand.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to put it back on the consent.
So moved.
Gotta read it.
Second?
Oh, all right,
Okay,
got my
let's
yes
all,
up there.
let's all vote again.
What? Let me read it
Oh,
back
I'm
in.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, John, read it into the record.
Variance case B 46, Charles R. Barker requests a variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 4 feet adjacent to the northern property line and land lot 1039 of the 16th district. The property is located on the eastern side of Clubland Drive, north of Creekstone Way. Staff recommends approval, subject to development inspections, comments, and recommendations, and stormwater management comments and recommendations. The applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case B 46? The applicant is not here, but there's, the stand-in is here.
Okay.
Let the record show there's no one opposed.
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve this to the consent agenda,
46.
46. Thank
I
you.
got it.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a motion, a second, call for the vote. And again, we'll put it back on the consent agenda and approve. All right, John, where am I now? Anything? I am complete at that. Ladies and gentlemen, again, let's approve the minutes from the June the 11th and also the May 29th. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion, we approve those minutes as presented.
I'll second.
I got a second. All in favor, signify by voting. There we go. It's 5-0. Our business is complete here today, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to wish everybody a happy 4th of July, happy and a safe 4th of July, and we'll see you in the month of August. Thank you.